So I want to deal with what makes the prophet Noble Drew Ali an expert on science. In 1913, when we have Dr. Martin Delaney, who was a medical scientist, a physician, a historian, a fighter in the Civil War, someone who dreamed of he was one of our first Pan-Africanists, Dr. Martin Delaney. What makes the prophet Noble Drew Ali a scientist when he doesn't know anything about science? He was not trained in science. So if you're not trained in science, how can you speak about science? More so, in the 1913, science was developing methodology in 1913. White folks were still dealing with religion and even couldn't separate concepts of evolution with their religious concepts of the creation of the world. So in the 1913, science and religion was having a conflict. What would make the prophet Noble Drew Ali an expert on science in the 1913? Now, if he was prophesizing black in science means death, he didn't qualify what he meant. Did he talk about black the color, black the people, black as an organism, black as a frequency? What was he talking about? See, in science now, you just can't make a statement like that and say, well, black in science means death. You have to specifically talk about the characteristics of what you are trying to analyze and use a methodology in that formula to actually solve the problem, right? So in 1913, science was developing. It was more so in art in 1913. It was developing. So he has no credentials to say or to speak. And that's one of the things that we call a fallacy of authority. Fallacy of authority is when you say, I'm going to talk about science and make science the authority. So once I say science, then I can say black means death because science said it. So that's a fallacy of authority. But the problem is that the prophet Noble Drew Ali had the authority to talk about religion, but he did not have the authority to talk about science.